Hello, everybody. This is take two.
Take two. We are back.
Welcome back to Fourte Coaching. This is our marriage chats, sponsored by Fourte Coaching. And we are so glad that you are tuning in with us again. Welcome back, you friends that were watching before. We just had a little weather issue, but we moved into the garage. And we are right in front of a
hot grill.
And this is our prop to keep the fire burning. All right, so that's what we are talking about today, how to keep the fire burning. And as we always start out, I am Chauncey Forte.
And I am Gwendolyn Forte.
And you are viewing Marriage Chats sponsored by Fourte Coaching. And as you can tell, we have two guests, special guests with us today. And we will let them introduce themselves right now.
Well, I am Roz Stutley, and this is my husband,
Trey.
Stutley. And we have been married for almost 16 years. We will celebrate 16 years of marriage on June 21st. Sweet 16.
We are excited. So today it's a little bit different. We are outdoors. It's four of us because Trey's sister, our loving God sister family, Janine Stutley, now Sills, got married today.
Right. That's why they're in town.
Right. So we're actually at Janine's place.
Janine and Joel's place.
Right. Joel and Janine's place. And so we are just wanting to come to you to drop some excellent nuggets today for those who want to take their marriages to the next level, to keep that fire burning. Now that's our title, but the deep thing about it today is Trey and Roz actually started a ministry called Keep the Fire Burning. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Trey and Rob?
Absolutely. So Keep the Fire Burning Marriage Ministry started about 5 years ago this month, which we're excited to celebrate 5 years.
Right.
It was birthed out of our home church, and it is a ministry that is designed to help couples be intentional, strategic, and just having a wonderful connection and keeping the fire, their connection with their spouse burning, no matter what season they're in and no matter where they are in their relationship. But we feel that you have to be intentional about doing that.
I agree. Come on. Trey, tell me some of the things that you guys have done this year in that ministry.
So this year we've hosted a marriage talks with 4 other wonderful couples, and we just talked about intimacy. In our marriage, and being able to keep intimacy, establish intimacy, and just knowing that there's value in being intimate in your marriage.
Wow.
My.
That's important.
Listen.
The two becoming one, and it just come overnight, but it takes effort. And I love something that you said, Roz, about being intentional. In our marriages, in our relationships, it's vitally important that we are intentional in developing our relationships, in developing our communication, in deepening our intimacy, and going to the next level. It is vitally important that we are intentional in everything that we do.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get started with our topic today, which again happens to be how to keep the fire burning in your marriage. I wanted to just throw out to all of us a question to get the ball rolling is, why is it important to keep the fire burning in our relationship, in our marriage?
First, I want to say that's an excellent question. Why is it important? But I want to give some stats so you can see why it's important. We normally talk about every one of our marriage chats. We try to drop these stats because it's so important for us to be informed. And it's really been the same within the last 50 years. So the top 3 reasons couples separate, couples divorce, couples end the relationship, they're not talking, whatever have you, it's usually because of these top 3 reasons. Number 1, sex. Number 2, communication. And number 3, money, finances. So it fluctuates in the order sometimes, but it stays at the top 3.
That's right.
So when he's asking the question to each of us today, and we're posing that question to you, why is it important to keep the fire burning in our marriage? Well, one, I definitely feel with the aspect of intimacy that he just said, but sex, because that's one of the top reasons why couples go their separate ways. There's something there that's missing.
That's right.
And we want to discuss that today, whether it's sex, and then I want to couple that with communication. I feel it's very important for couples to communicate one to another, because I believe real intimacy starts on a very basic platonic level of communication. So how Chauncey communicates to me in the morning, throughout the day, and I communicate back to Chauncey throughout the morning and throughout the day, whether it's through text, whether it's through telephone, whether we're doing Marco Polo. It adds to our level of intimacy that when we come together at night, or when we come together any time of the day, we already formed a level of intimacy and connection through our communication.
And that is intentional. We're not just going by the wind or just playing it by chance, because you want to be able to be intimate. And before you guys are intimate physically, you are not just waiting right before then to start communicating or trying to start talking. If so, then the connection and that physical intimacy will probably be missing a little bit of things. So that's why we have to be intentional all throughout the day to add even more extra, everybody said extra spice when we come together in a physical, intimate way, whether that's in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening.
Absolutely.
And it's about being intentional in our communication back to one another.
Yes. Anyone else want to answer?
I just wanted to add something really quickly. You know, when you first meet a person and you're dating and you're fresh in your relationship with each other, there's a spark. There's typically just that natural something you feel. You can't wait to be with that person. It's like, you know, it's just, that is your boo. That is who you want.
That's right.
That's your boo, you know, and the other things jump out, you know, amen. You keep it in Jesus. But my point is that when you've been married for some time, and then you begin to do day-to-day life, and then you have work, responsibilities, you've got to find ways to just still be connected. And it may not feel the way that it felt when you first got together, but it should deepen and it should grow and it should be cultivated over time, that it becomes more special. And so I know for Trey and I, for example, I was sharing that I am not an athlete at all, but my husband is a total athlete, like sports fanatic, like to a whole nother level. Sometimes I'm like, Jesus, what happened? You know? But one of the things he loves to do is play tennis. So I've gotten out of my comfort zone, because I'm being straight up. I am not an athlete. I've gotten out of my comfort zone to learn how to play tennis, to be able to share that with him, which we call social intimacy.
Social intimacy. Did you guys hear that?
Social intimacy. Which is another way to keep the fire burning in your relationship outside of the bedroom. Because in order to have that connection in the bedroom, you got to do your work outside of the bedroom.
Excellent. Come on, Trey. Trey, talk on that.
And one of the things that my wife kind of touched on a little bit is you don't want to be complacent.
Right.
You don't want to have that level of complacency where you take each other for granted. So to have that, you know, to really keep that fire burning, it's very important to be intentional. It's very important to do what we've done in the past, is show appreciation, have appreciation time. And so we'll give each other like 3 ways or 3 things I appreciate about her, 3 things that she appreciates about me.
Good thing. I like that. Yeah.
That's right. Good things. No criticism.
Right.
So that's very important, to really, just one way to really keep that fire burning, so we're not really being complacent and taking each other for granted.
Yes, listen, you have to I love everything they just said, because I feel like what's the key is that understanding where you are in the season of your marriage. I believe we have different seasons. Like she said, in the beginning phase, I think everybody is so passionate. You're Google-eyed for each other. And I think it should stay that way. But because of life, we have 5 kids from college to a sophomore in high school, which it keeps us very busy. And we've had a lot of life transition, life changes. We've been caregivers for my mom who passed, and we've been caregivers for my grandmother who passed. So we've had a lot of stress and different strains that hit our marriage. We went through financial loss. I've been without a job.
Yeah.
My husband has been without a job. Then we both been together
Without a job.
Without a job. Come on, let me tell you, we've already been all of those stats.
That's right.
To be divorced.
Right.
But because we established what Trey and Ross were talking about, we've established that
In the very beginning.
In the beginning through date nights.
Intentionally.
Intentional
Okay.
through date nights. We made sure that our children understood, they're important. We love them, but it was all daddy and mommy made up the family before
First.
they came.
That's right.
So it wasn't
Right.
that when children come into the dynamic that now
made
we have a
us.
family. Oh, no. We have a family.
First,
and
right.
when you all come, you join.
You join into the family.
Right. And so we always made it a priority to say, guess what? We're going to have, whether it was a different night for you, you could pick a night, but we chose Friday night. And it wasn't based off of money. We just made sure we did something special in our union to cultivate good communication and intimacy and fun. And we did those things. And later on, I'm going to give a couple of ideas on how you can keep the fire burning through date night.
Yes.
Okay.
So what are some other things that we can do to kind of help keep the fire burning? You just talked about date night. We talked about social intimacy. Let's think of some other ways
Absolutely.
that we can give our audience to help them see how can we keep the fire burning in our marriage.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to say, prayer. For Chauncey and listen, I'm going to be honest and real to you. So the most attractive thing for me about my husband is when we pray together. So for me, that brought us
Let's bow our
closer.
heads, everybody.
No, praying together for real. We prayed together, and it brought us to a place of a closeness that we couldn't really explain.
It went beyond physical.
Yeah, it was way beyond physical. It wasn't about how he looked. It wasn't about how he smiled. Though I love his smile. I love the way everything about his skin. I love all of that. But because we prayed together and I saw how he opened up his heart and became vulnerable before God, so it was like a layer of him was naked and not ashamed before me. So I saw his level of transparency before the Lord, which made me become vulnerable as well to him. So we kind of saw ourselves naked in a spiritual way. Do you understand that? With our clothes on. So it wasn't we have to take our clothes off to become intimate. We had our clothes on in prayer, and we got a bond that has been amazing. And I can't say we could take credit for that. It was because of praying together and the Lord being involved in our relationship.
So having a spiritual connection, Gwen is saying, help was another way for us to keep the fire burning in our relationship.
Absolutely.
So that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Any others?
We can relate to that too, because we definitely have that connection in prayer. And the reality is you can pray about the areas in which you're struggling
It's
in,
true.
or areas that are weakness, or areas in your marriage that you're not necessarily feeling in that moment.
It's true.
Another thing for us has been keeping a sense of adventure in our marriage and being intentional about that.
I like that.
When we celebrated our 11th year of marriage, we decided to create 11 different adventures, which means that we tried 11 new things together
I like that.
we had never done before together,
That's wonderful.
which included a trip to Hawaii.
Yay!
But there were small things. It could be something like bike riding together.
Come
we
on.
love to go bike riding.
Scuba diving.
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Getting out of your comfort zone, trying new things, but just
I love that.
there's something about trying something new
It's so true.
together. It gives you
Very
something new
important.
to talk about.
Yeah.
It gives you something to do together
Come
that you
on.
maybe wouldn't do. And you can't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone.
That's
I
right.
think it's very easy to get into a routine like, oh, date night, let's just go to the movies.
Wow.
Or,
That's
let's just sit in front of the TV. There are going to be those days where you do just sit in front of the TV
That's
and
right.
cuddle, and that has its place, but there's also something to be said, especially when you've been together for a longer period of time, about keeping a sense of adventure and trying something new together.
I love it. What about that trying something new? I'm like, can we try something new tomorrow?
Tonight. And quick funny story. So when we had our marriage chats, our marriage talks about a month or so ago, we were with some other couples, and I loved it because I think one of the questions that was asked, like we had purchased this box of cards.
Oh, Simply Romantic Nights.
Or the one that I'm talking about is the conversation starter.
Oh, yeah.
So we purchased this box of cards, which was called Conversation Starters for Couples. And in the cards, there was 100 different questions to ask. So one of the cards was recommended asking, what is something that your spouse would like to see you in that you haven't worn, or that he or she really loves to see you wear? So to my surprise, my husband remembers this yellow mini skirt from about 5 years ago. Do y'all know I went in that basement trying to find that mini skirt? I was like, oh, where's that mini skirt? Now, I probably can't fit it now.
Well,
5 years ago. But the point is, it's like I'm listening to what he likes.
That's right.
I'm listening to what she likes. I want to make him happy. He
Yeah.
wants to make me happy. And I want to listen
Right.
to figure out what makes him happy at this point in our marriage.
Come
So
on.
now I'm like, Lord, please let him buy me a new miniskirt. In Jesus' name.
And it's an
Don't give
come
him a
on.
miniskirt.
Buy that miniskirt, brother. Try.
Buy that
Buy
miniskirt,
that miniskirt.
Right. But then I was like, okay, that mini skirt. But what do you like to see Trey in, Bob?
Oh man, I love when he has his basketball shorts on and he's freshly finished playing tennis and his butt. Well, I can't tell y'all all the details.
Fresh haircut.
You get where I'm going. Fresh haircut. I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Right.
Like, still got it going on.
Yes.
16 years
See,
later.
that's so important to me. And when we look at that, it all falls in line again with communication. There has to be a place where we can tell one another,
That's right.
what do we like?
What we
What
don't
do
like.
you like? Right. And it's so important because it's a part of being vulnerable. It's opening up, you know, and how we communicate to our partner is going to be key, because we want them to understand and hear our hearts, but at the same time, it's to exhort them and to lift them up. So yes, you asked what are some other things
Other ways,
to keep the fire burning. So she said that sense of adventure.
I love that.
Love it.
Well,
And I'd also like to add, keep looking at your spouse. That's something the Lord put in my spirit a few weeks ago. Because it's so easy. Like, you see your spouse every day. You get used to seeing them.
It's true.
You don't think about it anymore. They might dress up or they get ready for church, or you're going out and you don't even notice it anymore. But keep looking. Keep your eyes looking at them. See them. Look at them with admiration and just be show that affection and flirt with them and just keep that level of I'm into you and only you. I think that helps keep the fire burning as well.
I ditto.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
if you
wonderful.
agree with us, can you give us some hearts? If you're watching, give us some hearts. Tell us where you're from. And if you can share it on your page, we would love for you to do that.
You guys are giving some great insights. We love it. Can't you guys tell why they are over Keep the Fire Burning Ministries? Oh, you guys are perfect for that. Amen. We love that. So let's talk about some great things that couples can do for their date nights.
Okay, I'm going to read just a few of these. I gave some to Trey and Roz as well. I'm not going to exhaust it. But if you want this list, we'll post it on our website, and you'll be able to download it. But it's just about 100 great date ideas for couples in love. I will not read all 100 of them. But it's just because you can do things. Sometimes we're stuck in the idea that we need a lot of money.
That's right.
To do things. And really we don't. You can do things wherever level you are in your marriage. It's something here for you. So you can go on a ride. She mentioned getting bikes and going bike riding and talk in the country or in the city. Bathe together, light candlelight. And we love doing that. Sit outside in the moonlight in the evening, and sitting out in the moonlight and just talking and share your goals, your dreams. And you can conclude with some form of thanksgiving that you have in your heart for each other, for something that, that you feel is a blessing in your life. Or you can plant a tree together in your backyard. And when you moved in that house, and if it's a house that you plan on staying, you know, at, maybe if not, but you planted that tree together or a rose bush together in honor of your marriage and celebrated, you know, that time as a, you know, a memorial that you could say, this is the time where we, you know, are celebrating our covenant together. Or you could go horseback riding. You could give your spouse a massage with scented oil. There are tons of things that you can do. You could go on a vacation. You could build sand castles together at the beach.
Can I read some?
Uh-huh.
All right. You could take some dancing lessons together.
Right.
Getting out of your comfort zone, right?
That's right. That's right.
You can get up early and watch the sunrise together.
Or sunset.
Or at evening and watch the sunset. You can attend a high school or a college sport event. Even if one of you are not so sporty, like Sister Roz just told us, but because her spouse, Trey, was, she wanted to go be with him in an area that he enjoyed. I think sometimes we have to forget about ourselves and think about our spouse and do things that our spouse wants to do. So then our spouse can do some other things that we like to do. So that's wonderful. Go down water slides or swim together since we're about to approach summer.
I like 27.
27. Get all dressed up and go out to an exotic international restaurant. Get all dressed up and go out to an exotic, not just any international restaurant, but an exotic international restaurant. All right, shoot an entire roll of film of each other outdoors, or just use your phone.
And to me, I think that's a good one because today we have everything is about our camera, our phones, Instagram, Facebook. So you have such easy access. Where back in the day we used to have Polaroids. Everybody didn't have a Polaroid. But now you can just snap pictures of your mate.
Go to a drive-in movie together. We haven't done that in a while. Go to a motel for the evening, but return home by midnight the next day. Go to a park and swing on the swings while holding hands. That does not cost any money. So like Gwen was saying, some of these things, it doesn't have to be relegated to money, but it's just putting in the effort and then putting in the effort to invest in our marriages and in our relationships, because they are not going to grow without the effort. They are not going to grow just like your money. Come on. Your money doesn't grow if you don't invest in it. It stays at a plateau, but you have to put in investment so that you can take out a withdrawal. The same is true with our marriages. If you don't invest, there is nothing that you are going to be able to take a withdrawal from. But if you do invest, then you definitely will have some substance there for you to make a withdrawal or several withdrawals.
Right. I felt that.
Come on.
That some,
Yes, sir.
One thing that I want to emphasize or at least add is that we actually did we painted together. It was painted like a bottle of wine together.
Okay.
And that was something we had never experienced together. And you see a lot of sipping paints and all that stuff.
Yes.
However, we did it as a couple, and it was wonderful. It was amazing.
Okay.
And so it was something
wonderful.
that I just wanted to throw that out there because it was an amazing experience, a great experience.
And to piggyback off of that experience, it was a part of a marriage retreat that we attended.
Wow.
So I think that's a perfect segue to highlight and to call out marriage ministry. If you're connected to a local church,
that's right.
Marriage ministries are such a great resource for you. They talk about topics like communication, sex, and finances. They have great tools. And you can be around other couples who are like-minded and godly that you can help, and they can help you grow, and you grow together. You have accountability. You can have fun together. We love our community of other marriage couples that we can fellowship with. That also adds to our relationship.
I agree with that. She said being a part of a marriage ministry and also going to a marriage encounter or a conference or some annual event given by a marriage entity, ministry, or business, not business, but just it may not be a part of a church. It could just be this a place that has independent ministry to have something for couples. And what we're suggesting to say is go, because I can honestly say Chauncey and I grew the first 5 years of our marriage because we went to
Yeah, we
marriage conference
invested,
for us.
and it's an investment.
Yeah,
Right.
we were
It's
there
not a waste of money.
learning how to communicate.
That's
That's
right.
learning
Decision of our
roles,
lives.
leisure, male and female differences, personality assessments, conflict resolution. We learned that early on to help
That's
us
right.
now. We'll be celebrating 25 years this month.
On the
Yeah.
18th.
Yeah, so
To-
we're
To
excited.
God be the glory.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're very excited, but we can say a lot of it is because of number one, first the Lord, but being able to communicate
Yes.
and understanding one another, and we got that through going to and investing in marriage conferences.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I think we said a lot today.
I think you said a lot. But just to recap, what we've been talking about today is how to keep the fire burning in your marriage. And then we started out with, why is that important?
Yes.
It's so easy for us to grow apart from each other,
Absolutely.
especially if we've been married 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It's so easy to just get used to one another. But we never want to get used to our spouse or take them
Right.
for granted.
Right. Treat them common.
But be common with our spouse. We want to always entreat them and love them and treat them with speciality. Did I say that? Hey. With a little spice and just
Come on
keep
now.
some spice going in your
Yes.
marriage. And in order for that to happen, we have to be intentional.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think that's very, very, very important for all of us. It doesn't
Yes.
matter if you've been married for 1 year or just married today. Joel and Janine Seals were just married today, but they're taking some things that they have learned to even establish a closer bond right now in the very beginning of their marriage.
Absolutely.
Or if you've been married 25 or 50 years, it's never too late to start,
Yes.
and you never get too old that you have to stop investing in your relationship and in your marriage.
So on that note, we want to close today. We want to thank you for joining us. We would love for you to share this video
That's
on
right.
your page. If you love what you heard, if you liked what you heard, could you give us some likes and some loves? Also, if you want to connect with us, you can go to our website, which is www.fourtecoaching.com. You can connect with us on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and we will get back to you. We are excited about marriages. We are excited about couples moving forward, going to the next level.
That's right.
So we'll be back. You know, sometimes we are not here on Saturdays due to our kids and sports, but we'll try to keep it consistent, whether we're in the car or outside
Or in the airport.
or in Chicago or the airport. But we just want to tell you, thank you so much for joining us today. And we want to thank Trey and
Our
Roz.
special
our
guests. Come on,
guests.
give it up for Trey and Roz Studley for joining us. And until next time, I am Chauncey.
And I'm Gwendolyn Forte.
This is
And I'm
Roz.
Roz.
Great.
Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Great one.
Y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.